Saul. Another job. Hello. Flashback.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
All right, his name's Jimmy. I get it, all right? I apologize.
How's it going? What's up?
She didn't know his name. Oh, Hamlet. Okay. He was in the mailroom, yeah? Oh, hello.
Tell me what you need.
Oh, wow. She's right in the corner, isn't she? Like, not in the good way.
I can't open it.
Oh, law school? Yeah? Oh, this is cool, man. Tell me this story. Hey, what it is. It literally is. Tyler, shut up. Oh, the fact that she was... Yeah. Oh, well, that was a little bit too long for friendship, that, mate.
Environmental impact and sustainability.
Chucky boy. Right. Oh. Are we going to find out what it was that triggered this man?
Is this a joke?
No joke.
Right, so Chuck didn't force him to. He did it himself. Interesting.
I thought if Kim can do it, maybe I can too, you know? Got my last few credits for undergrad from a community college. I mean, they're not just...
Nice. No, this is way longer ago than 2 years, man.
The University of American Samoa. Well, I wasn't going to quit work, right? Nights, weekends.
Nice, he really put in the work, huh?
Bar
Of
exam's
course
a
he did.
mother. I mean, for me. Failed it the first 2 times. I guess it's like losing your virginity. 3rd time's the charm.
Is that the rule?
This must have taken you years.
Yeah, wow.
You didn't come to me for help?
Interesting.
Wow. I don't know what to say.
Are you proud of me?
Oh, yes, I am, mate. Come on, Chuck.
Yes.
Chuck. Okay, good. Thank you, mate. Well done.
Consider hiring me.
I'm
what?
seeing some difficulties
the
now
lawyer.
here, yeah.
That's a question I'm going to have to take up with Howard.
Yeah. Is there going to be, I'm sensing, okay, sorry, wild speculation. I'm sensing that there's a little bit, perhaps, of maybe guilt from Chuck's perspective. Maybe Jimmy never actually worked at Hamlin McGill, and the guilt ate Chuck alive. I feel like there's more to it than that. I feel like maybe that's an element of it, because he seems very unsure.
How could they say no? Look what you've done.
But also, so huge that he did that himself, man. I honestly thought, because I was sat here, you silenced. You were sat there all quiet, just, Wiley, just looking at me, like getting things wrong. Fair play to you, man. I was sat here talking about him being forced by Chuck and Chuck putting in the work. But no, I did Jimmy a disservice. He did that himself. Oh, that's huge. That changes, I think, some of the things that I was talking about. Again, hey, look, and I think I underestimated. It's interesting how that keeps happening. I underestimated Saul and where he's coming from, because I keep kind of assuming that he's being forced to do something, or I assume he's going to do the crooked angle. And actually, it's funny how the show so far is like quite often actually disabused that notion. Oh, but that makes me think something about that's a little crooked. Oh, see, I'm still doing it. God.
How it gets...
Hey. Hamlin, hello. Oh, is it going to be him, Hamlin, that rejects him? Is that where that animosity comes from? I wonder.
Hey, I hate to interrupt, but could you guys give Jimmy and me a moment?
Yeah, and maybe as a result of this, Jimmy, like I said before, levels it at Chuck and puts Chuck in a really difficult position, and maybe like he's a good guy, we've seen him as a good guy, and I just feel like that eats him up a little bit, right? And that maybe sends him down a little bit of the path where I suppose that we've seen him get to. Yeah, we're not getting to hear this. That's mean. I want to hear. Like, why though? Do you know what I mean? Is it just a straight no? Or is it like on the condition of?
Let's reassess in 6 months.
Right.
Thanks for understanding, Jimmy.
God, all that work. And yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how Chuck phrased it as well a minute ago. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. The weight of that. This right here really just I feel like has shaped everything that we know about what we've seen in this show so far. I think this is where it all comes from, where it all stems from. Chuck literally verbalized it all. He was like, yeah, you must have been doing this for years in secret. Like, this is amazing. This is so insane. The amount of work, tireless effort that Jimmy put in to get there, to get that, right? That's insane. That's so much work. And you know what, like good on him, like really genuinely good on him, because that's not easy for anyone to do. Never mind over the period of years while also working, right? And I think it's very on purpose that Chuck verbalized it in the way that he did and actually just put that on the table before the audience and like, yeah. No, the acknowledgement of, yeah, like that's such a big effort. And then for Hamlin, the one to come in and be like, yeah, despite that, it's just not going to cut it, buddy. Oh, what a blow. And yeah, I just see this moment right here. I might be wrong, but I do feel like this is the crux. I feel like this is the center point, the beginning of everything, like I say, we've seen in the present. The antagonism between Jimmy and Hamlin, I feel honestly like there's a lot maybe to do with what's going on with Chuck in the present. I think is rooted maybe a little bit here and being caught between a rock and a hard place, right? Between Hamlin and the partners and his brother, who has put in all that effort and done it in a way that Chuck can sympathize with, can love, right? Because we've seen that Chuck really appreciates honest work, hard work, do it the right way. That's what we've seen from Chuck, right? That's his characterization. And Jimmy did that. He absolutely did that to a T, to the letter. And still he's having to come back and say, no, you can't get this. You can't come here. You can't because of Hamlin. I can absolutely imagine how that would put someone like Chuck, a good person like Chuck, into this spiral of mental health. Hello and welcome to another Better Call Saul Sunday, the show that happens as a spider. Come on, man, seriously? You can't just spring this on me, dudes. That's insane. Please stop it. That's another one. It's not the same one. It absolutely no. Okay, admittedly, we got off to a little bit of a rough start there. Let's try again. Let's close my eyes and do it. We'll be fine. Hello and welcome to another Better Call Saul Sunday, the show that happens every single Sunday until we are finished with it. Today, episode 8, Rico. That is a thing, by the way. Sorry, I'm not looking at the screen. There's absolutely no chance. No, thank you. A Rico case. I've heard that in a show before, I swear. Don't know what it is. I can't think what it is. Flamingo check. Wah! That's right, a classy Tyler.
Come on, Kim. You deserve this. Come bask in the glow.
Oh, I actually really, I'm starting to not like you again, Hamlin, I'll be honest with you, mate. It's all sunshines and rainbows now, now that he's got his clients back. And to be fair, it's not even, I feel like she's going to start feeling a little bit of guilt. Maybe not guilt, but like, I mean, it wasn't really anything to do with her that they came back, right? Granted, she didn't deserve them to leave in the first place. That was not her fault. She did everything she could. You know how I feel about that. But also, I feel like from her perspective, she knows that Jimmy got them back, right? So I feel like maybe she's going to start to feel like, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to, you know what I mean?
This is a just and fair outcome and brings to it.
Oh, that face.
Please, whatever you got that's below the water that I can't see.
What? No, hang on, wait.
This is Landry, just a few more signatures and
That's very interesting. Sorry, that painting, I recognize that painting. I've seen loads of this guy. Oh, what's the story? He got shot by a ton of arrows. That's interesting. Sorry, because I feel like that's a famous painting, or it's a famous figure. I recognize it. So I'm like, okay, hang on a minute. Is this perhaps foreshadowing? Is Saul the guy? Is Saul going to take a few blows this episode? Maybe.
people do tend to put it off, but everybody should have a will.
That is true. That is very true. I've got like a really great mate called William, and honestly, he gives me the best pizza, right? Yeah, he works at a pizza shop. It's fine, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I swear, he puts on like extra toppings for me every single time. Oh my God, William's a gem. That's absolutely not what Jimmy said. Everyone needs a William.
All I have is $43.
Oh, bless her. Take it.
We'll just make it an even 120.
Oh, see, he's a good guy, man. It's interesting as well how we started the episode with what we started, because again, good guy. He puts in the work, puts in the effort, and I think again reminds me at least that he's trying. He's really trying, and I think that flashback at the beginning really just kind of pushes that home, actually.
Your family has you on an allowance?
It's my money. I just get it from Sandpiper Crossing.
Oh, hello.
The checks go to Sandpiper, and then they take out my fees and my expenses.
Okay. This sounds fishy, dude. Is she being swindled?
They take out what they need.
What they need?
This is how they do it for everybody around here?
Wow. Is this the jackpot? Oh, is she in on it?
Thank you. Oh, these are going to help me, but I don't know if they'll do the trick.
Yeah, look at this picture right here and the way that is being framed by the show. I'm sensing a lot of like, get on Jimmy's side this episode so far. There's been several things in this episode so far that have been like, look at how good a guy he is. Look at how much effort he's putting in to be that guy, to work on himself and get there. It's doing a good job. I'm feeling that here.
I think it might be Q-tips. I can't tell. We should look into it, don't you think?
Oh, she absolutely knows something.
Did you do my wills?
Yes, I did. And don't think I don't see what you were doing here. You need help? Hire a paralegal. Stand on your own 2 feet.
Chuck's reading into that. I'm not sold. I don't think Jimmy did that to get him to do his work for him. I still think that he did that to try and get Chuck to get back into the swing of things, you know what I mean? Like get back into work as a lawyer and be like, oh, this is familiar, I like this, let's go back to work. Do you know what I mean? I feel like from Jimmy's point of view, it was absolutely a way to try and get him rehabilitated in some way, right? And it's interesting that, isn't it? Despite everything, Chuck still sees him as this person. That line again, right? Stand on your own 2 feet. I honestly think Chuck's been a little bit unfair to him. And I think he's exhibiting the same thing that I've seen quite a lot in this show so far, of people underestimating Saul or treating Saul quite unfairly. And like I say, I feel like there is that misunderstanding there. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do feel like I'm going to stand by it for now. I think once more he's seeing Jimmy as this person who, you know, doesn't put the effort in, doesn't do his own work, doesn't, do you know what I mean? And I feel like everything we've been shown so far in this episode is the opposite of that. I think Chuck's wrong, and I think that's so sad.
How could you even read this?
Is that the trick, huh? Make it so people can't read it? That's so shady, man. You know this happens too.
$3.50 for a single roll of toilet paper, $22 for a bottle of aspirin.
What?
Nothing huge, but adds up to real money. I mean, she got soaked for like $400 last month.
Ooh.
Fraud. This was in work I did?
Ooh, really?
Yeah, you must have missed it.
Oh.
I got lucky, right? Even a stop clock is right twice a day.
That highlights the discrepancy. You know, Jimmy's been very kind there and saying like, you know, it's just luck, right? But I don't think it is. I think Jimmy's good. I've said that several times. I've said that a lot. I said that a lot in Breaking Bad. I'm like, this guy's good, man. He's really good at what he does. And so, do you know what I mean? Like this discrepancy of like people seeing Jimmy a certain way. And I don't think that was luck. I think Jimmy's just good. I'm not saying at this point that he's better than Chuck. I don't know. I honestly don't have enough information to make that call. But I do think he's on a par in some respects. I think he is grafting, right? So again, we're being shown that it's not all luck. It isn't. It's effort and time and practice. And Jimmy's putting that in. And all the people in the show seem to be like, no, you're not, mate. You're actually lesser. You know, Hamlin's done that. We've seen that this episode. Chuck's done that, right? We've seen that this episode. All of these people. And it's like, God, can you all just stop for a second and actually look at the man before you and what he's doing?
Could be class action.
Ooh, hello.
What do I do now? I mean, what next?
Well, you're gonna need more information.
Well, there you go. And hey, look, and hey, he's still inexperienced. And that's fair. I think he can be good at what he's doing, good at the job and putting in the time and the effort in exactly the way that Chuck wants him to, but he's still inexperienced. And I think it's absolutely fair that he comes to someone like Chuck who has been in the business a lot longer, right? I don't think that goes against what I was saying. I think that's still valid, but yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. This, isn't it? The relationship between Chuck and Jimmy. And I think considering the flashback and my suspicions about that, God, it just reminds me of the potential for this relationship and the ways they could go. It reminds me of Breaking Bad, you know, there's so many different ways that this could go based on like the raw materials that I see before me.
Full.
Sorry, what a time to unpause. Always go full cock. Sorry.
Back to see Mrs. Landry.
This lady, huh?
We are obligated to protect our residents from being harassed.
Oh, they're shredding. Oh, buddy, come on. You got to do something.
Now, they have a legal right to meet with me.
Yeah.
We'll just have to arrange to meet them elsewhere.
Oh, wow. They really battened down those hatches, didn't they? Wow. Come on, mate. You got to move quick, I feel.
Use your restroom. I got IBS.
Go ahead.
Well, I actually believe that. Yeah, got to work quick, mate. Come on, come on, come on. This is a test. This is a test.
Are you all right in there?
We believe that breach of contract.
Yeah, good. What is this?
Need you to
This
finish
is a
up?
demand letter informing Sandpiper Crossing of pending litigation for defrauding my client's subsistence.
Yeah, boy. Go, go, go.
I'm not deaf. I can hear you. Stop right now. This makes it official, right? If you don't stop
Boy.
spoliation, that's what it's called. And it's a felony, so call your lawyers right now. That me, James McGill Esquire.
Get in there, mate. Oh, I'm so proud of him. Power to the people. Power to Jimmy. That's what I'll say. Is that a good sleep? Are you confused?
Do you think you could watch Kaylee? It'd be during my
Oh, good. Yeah, give him a bit more time, man. I hate this. I hate it because it reminds me of Breaking Bad and how it all ended. I do really hate that about prequels. I really... Because I know how it ends, man.
Anytime.
Oh, wow. Just let him go, huh? Hey, did he have the stickers? Nice to see, honestly, from a structural perspective, that Mike's not being left by the wayside. You know, we had that, obviously, that episode, that great episode. And we've obviously returned to Saul, which is, you know, the bigger part of the season, I suppose. But I like it. I like that we're, you know, we are dividing our time between the two. And I feel like if Saul is the main character, we've got Mike as the secondary character, you know, the secondary main character. I feel like they're kind of the flagship of the show. And so I really enjoy that they are splitting a little bit of time now from one to the other. And I think think episode 6 really was just enough. You know, they gave us so much, I feel like, in that episode. It was just such a beautiful episode. Probably my favorite episode maybe this season, which is crazy, right? In a show called Better Call Saul, that Mike is, you know, that episode was my favorite. But it was a really strong episode from start, middle, finish. I feel like isolated as it was in this, you know, season 1, it told a really good, satisfying story, while also, you know, maintaining this importance in this show, but also paying off Breaking Bad as well. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that episode did so much with one episode. And so I feel like I'm getting enough from the Mike side of things, even though we've not seen actually that much of him over the scope of season 1. So as much as I was saying last episode what I was saying about that episode and the season as a whole, I feel like that aspect of this season is like, has been done kind of perfectly, at least for me. Get yourself in there, mate. Get stuck in. Oh. Mate, take a shit. Assert your dominance. You know, slap a raccoon. Good. Spit on it. Sorry. I apologise. This is a family friendly. It's not family friendly at all.
And so I'm like...
There you go, mate. Direct delivery. Oh, God. Oh, buddy. Yeah, Chuck, is this enough? Standing on his own 2 feet. Come on.
James McGill.
Mr. We're the law firm representing Sandpiper Crossing Assisted Living. How are you this evening?
Quite well, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
It's just that you're whispering.
Hey, man, you don't know what's going on.
I'm at the opera.
Oh, what opera?
Oh, God.
Magic flute.
Mozart. Lovely.
Saved.
If you're talking about shredding documents, it's neither irregular nor illegal.
Oh, this guy's so slimy, isn't he?
It's a bit hard to read. Next time I'd use double ply.
Whoa, hang on a minute. What do you mean double ply? It's not his fault. Get your clients to sort the situation out, okay?
Mr. McGill, are you related to Charles McGill?
Don't answer, mate. Trick question.
Yeah? How's he doing these days?
Don't answer that.
I fail to see the relevance of this.
Nice. Lawyered.
The only reason that I made this phone call was out of respect for Charles, on the off chance that you might be related to him.
Wow. Again, we're seeing people in the show disrespect Jimmy. For what? Right? You know, it's interesting. I feel like this episode so far, I mean, hey, look, we're halfway through. We're not even, I thought we were further through on it. We're like literally directly halfway through, 23 minutes in, 23 minutes or so left to go. And we've seen so far, I think, these two sides, right, arrayed against each other. One, Jimmy, and his pure, honest effort to be a good person, a good lawyer, and do it the right way, right? And then this other side of several characters and also the story as well in being told in this episode, just coming against that, and also just not even acknowledging this side, swiping it away and being like, nah, that's not it. Actually, Jimmy is lazy. He doesn't do his own work. He's not a good person. He doesn't measure up because of this, and this. So we're getting again. And I feel like the way that we're actually being funneled it as the audience is, it's a very good episode for, again, getting you behind Saul. And whatever is going to come, whatever crookedness, whatever criminality, whatever comes, you're on Jimmy's side. That's what this episode is doing, because it's like it's arraying everyone against him while showing you as the audience that he's a good person that puts in all this effort and is like pure and like doing it the right way, trying, which isn't new. We've seen that already in the season, but this episode is dialing down on that to the 11. I think this is absolutely laying the foundation going forward. I said that so much, I'm so sorry, but it's a foundational season, it absolutely is, of making sure you as the audience know who you're behind, know who you have to root for. I absolutely appreciate the show's called Better Call Saul, and I feel like people should know this already, but it's not enough to necessarily tell people that. It's not enough to be like, yeah, he's the main character, follow him, right? I think a lot of shows do that, but they don't actually give you anything to follow. And I think the show is doing everything possible to be like, hey, follow this guy, and it's like, yeah, I see why, I get why, because of this and this, I'm running out of fingers, mate. Do you know what I mean? I feel myself kind of reasserting myself in a place of like, you know, planting myself and being like, yeah, don't come against my boy, he'll get you, he deserves to, right? You are the bad guy. And again, it's this antagonism.
How about you stop trying to rattle my cage and just, you know, respond to the merits?
Yes, exactly. But also, this is a strength for Saul. I'm so sorry. I know that I'm going back and forth between Saul and Jimmy. I'll get it. I will. It's ingrained in me, okay? Just behave. Just come on. You're right. I should be calling him Jimmy, okay? It's also a good thing because all of these people are underestimating him. I think especially in a professional environment, this guy, this slimy little worm, sorry, I don't know much about him. He just talks very slimy. Do you know what I mean? He's coming against him. And I feel like that underestimation is giving Jimmy the advantage.
This is a shakedown, and we both know it. Sorry for interrupting your evening. Enjoy the magic flute.
This man's a little rattled, actually. I don't know whether that was really well directed, really well acted, probably both, but like this guy's really selling that. I think he is a little bit rattled, actually. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, I feel like this is absolutely an examination of his acting technique here, actually, because like if you look at this scene and the way that he just answers these questions, and maybe I'm reading into this too much, but like that's what I'm seeing at least.
This is a shakedown, and we both know it.
Yeah, look at that. That little look there. Hang on. Yeah, his voice is pitched a little bit higher.
This is a shakedown, and we both know it. Now,
yeah, look at that little shake in his head there. That's beautiful. Really, really well done. Right.
This is a shakedown, and we both know it.
Here.
Now, if
that little, it's so subtle, and I feel like it's really nice because that wasn't necessarily on purpose. He felt an emotion there in himself as an actor, and it just translated, right? Do you know what I mean? He wasn't like, shake my head right now. It was like he felt an emotion and he just acted that way. That's brilliant. And because of that, you see that he's a little bit shaken. His mode of speech is a little bit halted, right? In this line and how he delivered it and how he went into the next line as well. The pause, the slight pause.
both know it. Now, if
Pause,
you push this any further, my hands will be tied.
Pushing too hard.
Sorry for interrupting your evening.
And that there, hesitation.
Sorry for interrupting your evening.
Yeah, that little thing that he did there just shows that he's on the back foot. And that's all translated in the acting. Really, really well done from this guy. Yeah, I think Jimmy can take him though. Hey, look, man, we all like a little bit of physical comedy, all right? That is amazing comedy. I'm so sorry. That is my kind of humor. Thank you very much. Wow, this is man, I swear, I do not envy. Like, I see this in shows a lot, right? People putting together shredded stuff, and I'm like, how? And like, I'm sure this absolutely happens, but honestly, as an actual practice, I'm like, that's insane. Anyone who's ever done that in their life, like, for real, well done, because no thank you, mate. I'd rather sit back and drink a beer, do you know what I mean? Just things in life that you prefer to do. That is accurate though. A whole night and you've got like a few, like, yeah, fair.
They wouldn't let me in, and I could see that they were shredding. I wrote them a demand letter.
You broke into a nursing home?
Assisted living.
No.
And you stole their garbage.
No. See this? Again, I'm sorry. I've been talking about this, harping on about this the entire episode. Everything we've seen as the audience translated through Chuck is a negative. And I feel like that's the theme of the episode, is despite Jimmy being well-meaning and being on, honestly, the morally good side, none of that is actually seen, and it's misinterpreted by so many people. Chuck being the main perpetrator of this episode, honestly. I feel like the most hurtful perpetrator of this episode, because he's so close actually to Jimmy. That flashback that was fed to us through his correspondence with Chuck. Chuck knows this. Chuck has this information, and I appreciate, like, you know, since then we've had a lot happen. Had the billboard incident, the incident in the paper, the slipping Jimmy, the relapse into the slipping Jimmy. He's tried to set up the Kettlemans. He took the bribe. He did all this stuff. Yeah, fine, sure. I'm not saying that those elements aren't within his character, but also I feel like contextually with what some of these characters are coming at him with, the information they're coming at him with, they don't have a right to be saying these things to him. Do you know what I mean? We as the audience have a right, I feel like, to say these things about Jimmy because we know all of it. We know all the context, but these don't. I appreciate that they're seeing it through a, you know, tunnel vision, right? They don't have all the information. I appreciate that. But at the same time, like I say, Chuck is the direct correspondence, the direct communicator of that information to us at the beginning of this episode in the flashback. He should know. He should know better. And again, we're getting the good deeds of Jimmy in this episode funneled back to us through this lens of negativity, and I'm like, dude, can you just stop? I see the future in Breaking Bad where Saul comes from, right? You know, Jimmy turns into Saul, and Saul, I think, I'm starting to see that Saul perhaps is not necessarily an alter ego, but I suppose a different personality to who I associate Jimmy as right now in this moment, right? And I feel like Saul comes about because of this kind of stuff. So many people coming at him with negativity, so many people coming at him, not trusting him, not appreciating what he's doing. I see how he was put onto that path because of what I'm seeing in this episode.
It was in public. There was no lock, no nothing. There's no reasonable expectation of privacy in that situation, is there? That's the standard, right? If animals or vagrants can get in?
More or less, yes.
Yeah, I think this actually brings up a really prevalent social issue as well. Sorry, we've been there so often, I feel like, in this show so far. I don't think this is comparatively accurate to the show right now, but bear with me. My example would be like nepotism. People having, because I think that's the key. What I'm getting at is this unfair advantage. And I feel like Chuck, I don't really know, but I'm getting the impression because of how this episode started and how Jimmy has gone about getting his law degree and passing the bar and it going over years and him having to identify a certain university to go to or whatever it was, you know, that was obscure, and he had to do his research and do that. And that's how he got it. I have a feeling that Chuck got it in a way that was much more smooth, right? Much more traditional. And I feel like Jimmy is essentially going on the same path that Chuck was on, just in a different way. But I feel like because of the path that he was on, Jimmy is being judged differently. Even though he's arrived at the same place, you know, achieved the same thing. I was going to say essentially, but no, he has. He achieved the same thing. He passed the bar. He passed his exams. He became a lawyer. You know, he became able to practice law, same as Chuck. And I feel like all of this judgment is coming from a place of like, you didn't get it in the same way that I did. And so you got it in a way that isn't the same, even though it is. I mentioned nepotism and unfair advantages because I feel like there are social cues as to how you should get a thing. I know that's very vague, but I hope you know what I mean. There are very certain ways that you should achieve certain things in society. And if you achieve them in this way, then you're not quite the same as this way, the way you're supposed to do it. And it's like, that's not true. If you're still achieving the same things over here as this person, but you had to do it this way because of your circumstances in life, that doesn't make you lesser than this person over here. It doesn't at all. And I feel like that's what we're seeing right now. This is Jimmy, this is Chuck, achieve the same things on the same path, but Chuck sees Jimmy a different way because of the way that he got there. That's inaccurate. That's not fair. Chuck is admitting it, is like, yeah, that's right. Jimmy's not doing anything wrong here. And he's actually, and we've seen as the audience, that he's doing the right thing. He's trying to get these people, these old people that are vulnerable, the right amount of support legally. Big theme of season 1. I feel like he's subtly shifting him, subtly kind of probably going to work at him enough that it'll probably get to a point where it shakes him and it pushes him. And why wouldn't it? And also it's continually working against him. We saw the guy, the slimy guy, who was like, yeah, I called you because I thought, you know, maybe you have something to do with Chuck, you know, he's your brother. We're seeing it there, right? And it's like, the only reason you gave Jimmy that's why I mentioned nepotism, because it's like the only reason you gave Jimmy the time of day was because you thought he was associated with someone else. It's like, why should that change your opinion of someone, right? That happens all the time. There's such inequality in so many aspects of society, so many aspects of professional society as well as a subcategory, right?
You don't shred like this unless you got something to hide, am I right?
Not necessarily.
Skepticism. Yeah, again.
Stop. It's okay. You can work here.
Good. Thank you. Yeah.
I don't mind the company.
Good. Finally.
You look like you could use a cup of coffee.
Yes. Good. Finally. Camaraderie. Hey, and again, and we're seeing a little bit of a subplot come back into it, and Chuck getting involved a little bit. You know, the work stimulating him. Oh, that is the stuff. Oh, please feed it to me. Last episode. Hey, man, maybe last episode was like a little bit negative for me because they turned down the coffee. You saw it. You saw it happen. I just appreciate how they are subtly shifting that balance back this episode, okay? This is a great episode. It's a great episode. Don't ask me why. Coffee. Coffee's why. Yeah. Oh, in here we're seeing that Chuck does care about him. That brotherly love.
Chuck, how did you...
Wow, man worked.
This is a huge help.
Yeah, man.
It's your smoking gun.
Demonstrates a little bit of how maybe obsessive Chuck gets and how that contributes perhaps to how good he was as a lawyer too.
Medical supply, Lincoln, Nebraska. So?
Makes me start to think that little look of glee, that little look of satisfaction and happiness, and like Chuck's enjoying himself. But I'm like, is that because you're above Jimmy? Again, do you know what I mean? Maybe I'm being a bit unfair. I'm not sure at this point. I've not got all the information, so like I'm kind of, you know, settling down on this a little bit, but not too hard. But again, we got a little bit of that in Breaking Bad. I feel like Walter and Jesse's relationship very much presented itself as this at face value, quite wholesome, quite nice little brotherly, you know, relationship. But I feel like under the surface was a lot of negativity, a lot of unhealthiness. And I feel like from Walter's point of view, he very much kept Jesse on board a lot of the time because he needed someone for his ego and him to stretch his intelligence and like, you know, brag about that to somebody because he needed someone that he perceived as lesser to him in that situation. And so maybe I'm being a little bit unfair because I'm kind of, you know, thinking back to that a little bit from Breaking Bad and applying it to this situation. But I'm looking at the situations in this episode and the behaviors that I'm seeing from Chuck primarily in regard to Jimmy in the different situations that I've seen him in. And he's slowly come around and it's like, why? What changed? In this moment here, the dynamics changed slightly. It shifted slightly. Chuck, I feel like, has, and let's not forget earlier in the episode, Jimmy catching something that Chuck didn't, and the sandpiper stuff, which changed the dynamic right there too, because it arrayed Jimmy above Chuck professionally in that way. And it's like, right, okay, how much of this dissatisfaction in this relationship comes from what I've previously mentioned, and how much of it comes from maybe Chuck feeling inferior to a brother he always saw as inferior to him. And again, like I say, it might be a bit of a reach, I'm not sure. Like I say, hey, I've not got all the information, I'm speculating at this point. It's just what I've observed this episode specifically. And that right there, he's gleeful again, he's enjoying the work. And it's not even necessarily because of that, but like there is the element of, yeah, he did something that Jimmy couldn't. Let's keep an eye on that. That's what I'm kind of feeling at this point. Because maybe that's an element that is at play here too.
But it's a good opening salvo for us.
Us? We're working together on this?
That's up to you, Jimmy.
Okay, nice, good. Oh, that's all he wanted. Like I say, all this episode, we've got Jimmy and this antagonism coming against him. Chuck being one of the main antagonists, honestly, this episode. And so it absolutely makes sense that finally Chuck's given a little bit. Huge motivation for Jimmy, honestly. And not just this episode, just the whole season.
Hey, gorgeous.
Oh, man. Sweet talking right out of the gate. But this is going to take hours. And who do I bill it to?
Bill it to Howard.
I still remember his code. 1933, same year Hitler came to power.
Use mine, 1868.
I feel like that's relevant. I don't know why. 1868, what's that?
We're working on something together and bring it over to his place after.
Wait, you're working a case together?
Super interesting that they're working a case together, by the way. I wonder, and the defining moment to this, or the defining resolution to this more so, for me at least, is at the end of it, is Chuck going to take the credit? I feel like Chuck's going to be given the credit. So I feel like the question, like I say, more so is he going to take it? Or is he going to give Jimmy it? Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The way that this episode has gone so far, I'm more inclined to believe that actually Chuck would take the credit and not give Jimmy enough.
Last time you saw him, he wasn't himself, okay? This is good for him.
Right, there we go. This is good for him. Yeah, the work. Getting back to it.
We're ordering a pizza, okay? I'll save you a slice.
Get William!
You know, if you don't separate those, you're going to end up with brown.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? This stuff hits so much harder because of what you know about Matty.
Kid's a dream. She's easy.
I want to know what I should do with this.
Oh, the money.
Look, with Maddie gone, I have expenses. Can I spend this?
If this money helps you and Kaylee,
go for it.
You spend every penny.
It's interesting, isn't it? I wonder, and hey, comment down below, what do you think? I'm very curious, actually, because like I personally, this is where I come down on this situation. Morally, I don't know. That's the thing, isn't it? I suppose morally, we're told that that is a bad thing. Me personally, I come down as like, it's a good thing. I will be honest with you. Only because I feel like considering all the context and where we've got to and why we're here and why she's got the money, the best thing for her right now with this money is to just spend it. Considering Matty gave his life for that, considering the, to be harsh, almost the worthlessness of his sacrifice. It's almost that question of like, it can't just be for nothing. Where do you come down on it? Let me know down below. What do you think? Would you spend it? Would you give it back?
Of course, it's only a drop in the bucket.
Oh, you need more. Okay. Yeah, Mike's listening.
This is the price of admission.
Yeah, I heard about this. Go ahead, it's fine.
It's really interesting, isn't it? The word of mouth that Chuck has around the industry and how respected he is.
Chuck, come on, buddy.
Are you okay, mate?
They're the Pistons and you're the Bulls. All right?
Yeah. There's no electronics here. That's the important thing, right? They've left them all in the car. So now it's like, why? Why is he suddenly reluctant? And it's like, okay, work. I'm coming back to that thing of like work, right?
Oh.
Hey. Yeah, look at how they dance for Charles, mate.
We were on a co-defense. Church's Donuts v. Amendola. It was...
Yeah, wow, they're really dancing to his tune, huh?
I figured you'd be arguing in front of the Supreme Court someday.
Ooh.
Well, that's,
Ooh, that hit him a little bit. Yeah, the lost potential. Ooh, that is a big... I feel like that's a big motivator for Chuck, actually, that we haven't ever seen before. Maybe something that Jimmy's inclusion in his life, in the way that it is, has cost him in a really awful way. It sounds really awful, but perhaps something that maybe Chuck blames him for. We'll see.
You know, you're not going to make this stick.
Also interesting, actually, to see that all of the respect and all of the fear comes from Chuck. Whereas, like, we've seen, obviously, that Chuck is very much not in his element right now. He's not enjoying this. He doesn't want to be here. He's not ready for this. Right, we saw that with the little scene we had just in the back room there. And actually, I feel like the danger here for these boys is Jimmy. And they obviously don't see it that way. Again, the theme of the episode, Jimmy being underestimated, not being seen for what he is.
As far as I understand it, no one has claimed there's a guy with a knife telling them to hand over their lunch money.
That's so wrong, dude. Is that what it takes?
You go to any one of them right now and you know what you'll see? You'll see happy, healthy residents.
Literally thieved from them.
Some of your clients have, in fact, been overbilled. An accounting error doesn't rise to the level of fraud, not even close.
Yeah, your damage control right now. Okay.
Told it's $46,320.
That's a lot of money. But also, absolutely not as much as it should be.
We'll give you another $46K to cover your expenses. Let's call it $100,000 even.
That's a lot of money. Makes me feel like you're scared. And I feel like Jimmy's going to see that. It's a lot of money. Yeah, that little crossing of the arms, putting barrier between you and, you know, the opposition, leaning back, putting distance between you and them as well. Micro tells, you know. It's nice little touch in the show that they put that in.
It's syringes, so?
It's where it's from.
Lincoln, Nebraska.
Go Cornhuskers. Since you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'll explain it to you.
There you go. They didn't get something and now Jimmy's explaining it. Again, it just shows how competent he is, right? Every single step of the way in this episode, it's going to pains to show how competent Jimmy is, how underestimated he is, how so many people in the show don't see him how he is.
Your client accepted shipments across state lines for its enterprise.
Are you trying to make this a RICO case?
There we go.
You know as well as I do, RICO's used mostly for business beefs. Low threshold for RICO provisions to kick in.
Notice as well, Jimmy's pretty much exclusively the one talking. Again, you know, putting forward this idea that, yeah, Chuck is not the danger here. Jimmy is.
Pretty low threshold for RICO provisions to kick in.
I love this actor. Sorry, the guy against Jimmy. Look at this. Look at that face. It's so it's so sour, so angry, so evil looking, right? I feel like this actor, I hope he comes back because he's actually, I really like him.
What was your word? Overbilling? I prefer the classic term of fraud.
Yeah, Chuck is out of action, man.
Will you give us a moment?
Sure, man.
Well. What number exactly did you have in mind?
20 million.
Excuse me?
Whoa.
Oh, you can't expect.
$20 million.
Oh, hello, Chuck, mate. Okay, weigh in. Fair play.
Or we'll see you in court.
All right. How are we feeling, Jimmy? Oh, interesting. He's finally looking at Jimmy.
This is potentially a multi-state federal class action lawsuit with a RICO.
I feel like Chuck's misstep.
20 million. That's conservative.
Jimmy was taken aback, but in the, you know, the meeting that they were having, it was very public. He couldn't be like, what are you doing, dude? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he just went along with it. Whoa.
We need to get you back on the grounds. Some injunctive relief, maybe a TRO.
Oh, he's getting well into the work now, isn't he? Interesting how they're using the cinematography here to go around the room. Sorry, just a little thing, but like, look at this. Going around the waiting room. Very reminiscent of Saul's practice in Breaking Bad. Oh, hello. Little doggo, mate. Oh, he did not have a dog in the future. I don't need this.
Anything else I can do for you?
No, you tell me what you got. I'll tell you what I'll do.
Interesting. He's back in the game, yeah. Yeah, we are seeing Chuck a little bit outpacing Jimmy, though, here, right? Granted, Jimmy's doing all the legwork, but... Oh, he's going to... wow, hang on. He's Chuck. So engrossed. He's just going outside. What? He's fine. He's suddenly fine. Like, he's not fine. I get that.
Chuck?
Right? That's my face right now. Sure. And now he realizes, yeah, you broke him out of it. Oh, shit. It's mental, man. It is. You're fine. No. Hey, you're fine. Hey, come on. Oh, come on. No. You're fine. That's huge. Oh, that's huge. Oh, that's huge, man. What an interesting episode. I mean, to round up, I suppose, yeah, just showing me how competent Jimmy is at what he does, right? And I think the hurdles, so many hurdles that he has to go over, so much opposition that he has to come up against just to like make the bare minimum of what so many people are just given. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to minimize Chuck's achievements and what he's done. I'm very much seeing, even from this episode, how good he is at the job. I feel like also the show is communicating that to me. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve the accolades that he's got. I just feel like that for Jimmy to get to the same place, he has to do twice as much. And I feel like we've seen that consistently throughout the show, not even just in this episode, but also just reminded in this episode how much that is the case as well. You know, I'm not going to retread that because I think we've seen from several characters, Chuck included, how much they are coming up against him and not being, you know, like, oh, you deserve to be here. I feel like there's a big element of like, you don't deserve to be here. You got to work, man. You got to work. You got to show us at all times that you're working. Otherwise, we're going to be like, you're lazy. And also the bombshell of those last few seconds. Once he got into the routine of work, once he occupied his mind elsewhere from where he got to, how he was fine. Right, and I do that because I'm like, it's clearly real. It absolutely is. This, I feel like, is absolutely trying to show me as the audience that it's in his head. Does that make it less real? No. But also I do appreciate the structure of the episode and how it started with the flashback and how I was talking about, okay, I feel like this is the root cause of Chuck, right? And how we ended the episode was like seeing where Chuck is. And my suspicions of the flashback giving me this information and being like, I feel like this is the root cause. I feel like because of this, you know, the Hamlin, Jimmy elements and the situation coming back at Chuck, and I can see that leading him down a path to this present that makes him this way. And I feel like there's a brilliant poetry to the beginning of the episode in the flashback and the ending of the episode showing where he's got to as a result of that root cause that I was kind of identifying. Again, lots of questions. I'm not sure. I'm not dialing this down as like that this is absolute fact because I don't know. It's still speculation on my part, but I absolutely I'm quite confident, at least at this point, that that's what's going on here. But very interesting. I'm so interested in the flashbacks and what future flashbacks might show me and tell me, and how that might inform where I come down this episode as well. We'll see. But thank you, as always, for watching. Hey, if you're new to the channel, give me the old subscribe, like as well. Comment, hey man, if you enjoyed it, let me know. That makes me feel good. That's all I can say. Thank you, as always, to my patrons, my beautiful patrons. Thank you for supporting me in the way that you do. I will see you all next week, where we will be returning to Better Call Saul Sundays. We will be watching episode 9 there as well. So don't miss it. I'll see you soon. Be good. See you later.